Write a creativity within 1,000 word about caught in lies. CNN host directly shames Trump admin for propaganda. A Customs and Border Patrol officer shot and killed the 37-year-old Pretti after he came to the aid of two female legal observers during an immigration operation, and the CNN News Central host reported live from the city about the administration's claims about the fatal shooting. Demonstrators have been out in the streets in sub-zero temperatures, demanding again and again that ICE leave the city, Sidner said. Now the Trump administration has tripled down on its efforts to put the responsibility on the victim, Alex Pretti, as opposed to its federal agents who shot him. Also read, "The white man's coming back." 8 held over links to resurgent violent skinhead group, but they've been caught in lies. When you listen to what they say and juxtapose it with the video, see for yourself. At least 4 different videos of the fatal encounter recorded by eyewitnesses contradict administration claims. A warning: what you're about to see is what Nelson Barajas saw outside the donut shop, Sidner said. This is the clearest angle of the shooting as it happened. That is Alex Pretti recording on his cell phone as Border Patrol agents arrive outside the donut shop. He goes into the street waving cars through. Now here is how the Department of Homeland Security described how Pretti approached federal agents. An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. That's not what video shows. It shows federal agents approach Pretti. All he has in his hand is a cell phone, not a gun. Then you see him moving one protester away from agents while agents shove another to the ground as he tries to help the protester they shoved. Agents deploy pepper spray. 3 wrestle him to the ground. More join in from another angle. You see one agent punching him in the face with a canister of pepper spray in his hand. Pretti is on the ground under them. Nothing appears in his hands. You can see an officer in a gray jacket walk into frame. Seconds later, agents shout, "He's got a gun," Sidner added. One agent removes a gun from his belt. He steps away from the scene, carrying a firearm seen here in his right hand. Turns out state authorities say Pretti has a license to legally carry a gun, but you never see him draw it. Instead, an agent draws his gun while standing above Pretti and fires the first shot. Pretti survived, somehow rising up to his knees. Then agents fired at least 10 more times. Pretti's body slumps face down in the street, lifeless, but federal authorities weren't done with their accusations against him. The cold did not stop the city from breathing that night. It came out in clouds, white, sharp, defiant. Each breath a small protest against the sub-zero air and the heavier chill of fear. Demonstrators stood wrapped in scarves and anger, stamping their feet, chanting the same demand until it felt carved into the street itself. Leave this city. They had been saying it for days. To ICE, to the administration, to anyone willing to listen. And now, to the memory of a man who would never hear them again. Alex Pretti died on that street, outside a donut shop that smelled of sugar and grease and ordinary life. He died after stepping forward. Not to attack, not to threaten, but to help. 2 female legal observers were being pushed during an immigration operation, and Pretti moved the way some people do without thinking, instinctively, like a hand reaching out before the brain has time to calculate risk. By morning, the official story had already hardened. On television screens across the country, the Trump administration's version of events marched out with the confidence of authority. A threat, a gun. A dangerous individual approaching federal agents. Words stacked carefully, deliberately, like bricks in a wall meant to block sympathy. But walls crack when light gets in. Live from the city, CNN's Sarah Sidner did not soften her tone. She stood in the cold with the facts, and she named what many watching at home were already beginning to sense. They have been caught in lies, she said. This was not rhetoric. This was evidence. For different videos, captured by ordinary people with shaking hands and cell phones, told a different story. Sidner walked viewers through the clearest angle, the kind that leaves little room for imagination and even less for spin. There was Pretti, phone in hand, not a weapon. He stood in the street waving cars through, trying to keep chaos from spilling further. The agents arrived. Not the other way around. The Department of Homeland Security would later claim he approached them with a 9mm handgun. But the video refused to cooperate with that narrative. It showed no gun, Only a phone. Only a man trying to create space. What followed unfolded fast, the way violence often does when power feels challenged. Agents shoved a protester to the ground. Pretti intervened, pulling someone back, trying to help the person already down. Pepper spray filled the air. 3 agents wrestled him to the pavement. Then more. A punch landed, delivered with a canister still clutched in the agent's hand. Pretti was pinned, face down, overpowered. Nothing was visible in his hands. Then came the shout, the pivot point where language transformed reality. He's got a gun. In the video, an agent is seen removing a firearm, not from Pretti, but from his own belt. He steps back, weapon raised. State authorities would later confirm that Pretti legally owned a gun and had a license to carry it. But legality did not matter. The video never showed him drawing it, never showed him reaching. The first shot rang out anyway. Against all odds, Pretti survived that initial bullet. He rose to his knees, wounded, exposed, human. Then the shots multiplied. At least 10 more. Enough to end the argument. Enough to silence a body, if not the truth. When Pretti collapsed face down in the street, lifeless, the accusations did not stop. Federal authorities continued to frame him as the aggressor, the danger, the cause of his own death. Responsibility was shifted upward, outward, anywhere but inward. This is how propaganda works, not always through invention but through emphasis. Through what is said loudly and what is omitted entirely. Through repeating a claim until it sounds like fact, even when the video says otherwise. Sidner did not let the audience look away. She juxtaposed words with images and trusted viewers to do the rest. In that gap between claim and reality, something powerful happened. Credibility changed sides. The protesters in the street were not just mourning a man. They were mourning the idea that truth alone is enough to protect you. They were pushing back against a system that demands obedience first and explanation later, if at all. Caught in lies is not just a headline. It is a warning. When institutions refuse accountability, citizens become archivists. They record. They upload. They remember. And sometimes, through the unblinking eye of a cell phone camera, they force the truth to stand in the cold and speak for itself. Alex Pretti cannot tell a story anymore. But the video does. And no amount of official language can erase what it shows. A man helping others, a state choosing force, and an administration hoping no one would notice the difference.